Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here, and welcome to another episode of Jambareeqi Orange, the show where I let my patrons decide what I review. The options for this month's episode included Lady and Tramp 2, Godzilla, Rockadoodle, Pokemon Forever, John Wick, and Chico and Rita. They chose Lady and Tramp 2. In the sequel to Lady and Tramp, we centre on Lady and Tramp's puppy Scamp, who tires of the suburban home life and dreams to be free. So he escapes to live with a group of junkyard dogs, where he falls for another puppy called Angel, who insists that Scamp returns home because he's so lucky to have a loving family. But Scamp really wants to impress the junkyard leader, Buster, by taking on different challenges that test his survival skills. Meanwhile, Lady and Tramp try to find their son with help from Trusty and Jock. If you wish to go into this movie with hopes of seeing something very much in the spirit of the original Lady and Tramp, prepare to be disappointed, because while it has the same setting and designs, it's a dramatically different product. The classy sophistication and nuanced dog's eye view of the world aren't here. This is something more for the Disney Channel crowd than fans of the classic. The pacing is faster, there's a heavier focus on slapstick, plus the misunderstandings between dogs and humans aren't a focus anymore. Not to mention, the songs and music are more in tune with something like High School Musical, which doesn't fit a movie set in the early 1900s at all. It actually makes quite the whiplash.
Far from here is where I want to be. Somewhere out there, loose and running. Nobody's leash to hold me, nobody's hugs to crush me.
There's one or two songs that sound old-fashioned enough, like the Junkyard Dog song.
We are the mutual unelite, an underclass from our head to feet.
But most of the numbers are more suitable for a 21st century musical. It's strange how Disney chose this specific movie to be heavily modernized for a new generation, because that's the staple of what it is, a turn-of-the-century period movie. Disney Channel songs are not going to slide comfortably into the aesthetics of a film like this. What makes me really convinced by this sequel's lack of interest in the original is how the characters of Lady and Tramp have such small parts for this sequel, despite their names being in the title. Sure, Tramp has a running father-son plot in the film, but he's a very different character now, playing the role of serious parent, very rarely showing that cool charm that we loved about him before. And Lady barely appears at all, contributing hardly anything as a character, being a very hands-off mother. This film likes the brand name appeal of the title it's taking its inspiration from, but doesn't seem that bothered about being a faithful sequel. Heck, much like Lion King 2, this sequel creates its own backstory into its narrative. The idea that Tramp was best friends with Buster, but betrayed him by no longer wanting to be a street dog. Where was Buster in the first film? I never saw him. Before he met Lady, Tramp wasn't tied down to anyone at all, human or dog. He bounced between communities at his pleasure. He never even introduced the junkyard dogs to Lady while touring the streets, so they obviously weren't that important. I do get that the film wants to create some kind of rivalry between Tramp and Buster, but it's done in a way that ignores its canon. With Jim Deere and Darling's baby no longer being a narrative focus, this sequel's romance becomes a bigger plotline, and while Angel and Scamp's relationship isn't exactly mature or deep, it's certainly a cute kind of puppy love that'll make audiences go, "Aww." There's a lot of time spent on their chemistry, and even though their romance isn't as compelling as Lady and Tramp scenes together in the first film, you can maybe see some charm to their innocence.
Pretty good pickings, huh?
I can see you know your way around an alley.
It's that obvious?
Couldn't miss it if I tried. This must be your diploma from the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I, just graduated.
I also totally understand why kids would love this film. It puts them in Scamp's shoes by letting them fantasize about running away from home to a messy place full of toys with no rules. I completely get why children would find that appealing, as they're at an age where there's so many limitations and restrictions, but they have such free spirits and wild imaginations. However, I'll admit that one of the film's biggest flaws is Scamp himself though. He's a spoiled brat who spends most of the film whining, being cocky, and only thinking about what he wants.
All I ever hear is rules, rules, rules. don't do this and don't do that. What good are teeth and claws if you can never use them?
Yes, puppies can be annoying, but there's a point where a young character becomes too irritating. A line needs to be drawn when writing these kinds of characters if you want audience empathy.
That's kid stuff.
Yeah, right.
Whoa.
I understand why some people might like him. He's very bouncy, youthful, and has a cute design, plus he does heroically save Angel in one scene. But he's always rubbed me the wrong way. I never felt sorry for him and thought he lacked the natural fun charm of his dad. Scamp's character does serve the film's message of appreciating your loved ones and the safe, warm home that they provide you with, but I just wish that they used a character that wasn't too annoying to spend time with. I felt very differently about Angel. She's a far more likable character than Scamp. She can stand up for herself with a feisty attitude, but she's also one of the more compassionate and sympathetic junkyard dogs. She sees the uncorrupted innocence of Scamp and genuinely wants to protect him from the harsh life of being homeless. But she's also not afraid to point out how ungrateful he's being.
Gosh, I didn't think they'd miss me that much.
You didn't think they'd miss you? I can't believe you'd run away from a home like this.
I did feel sad that she had gone from home to home, never once staying in the same family, and always feeling like she wasn't loved.
Someone would take me in, just when I'd start to think, wow, this is my family. They'd move, or have a new baby, or have an allergy. Same old story, I'm out on the street.
I never cared about what would happen to Scamp, but I did want Angel to find a happy home. Buster makes for a decent antagonist, posing as a scary, threatening dog, but also having the cunning smarts to manipulate the vulnerable Scamp. You can tell that he's very prideful and possessive, which is why he's so aggressive towards anyone who leaves him, and always keeps calling Angel his girl even though she isn't. I just wish that he was given an actual reason for his motivations, like a history involving family abandonment, because without one, he's just a jerk for the sake of being a jerk. The junkyard dogs are the most forgettable characters in the film in my opinion. They're all very flat and underdeveloped. I can't even remember their names, they're that mediocre and uninteresting. I didn't get attached to any of them. I think that their lack of development takes away a lot from the film, as they're supposed to be the heart of the junkyard community, the very culture Scamp's adventure is set in.
He taught Buster everything there is to know about being on the streets, Kay.
Buster's trouble was Tramp's trouble.
And Tramp's trouble was Buster's trouble, Kay.
That dog was a prize.
While it is quite a jump to see Tramp suddenly being a mature, sensible parent with strict disciplinary values when he was a far more relaxed and cool character than the original, I did empathize with his struggles as a dad. Scamp is being a complete nightmare, a real ungrateful troublemaker. I can see why Tramp is struggling to be both loving and responsible as a parent. It must be hard. Plus, Tramp has a history of families kicking him out, so he's probably terrified of what Jim Deere and Darling will do if Scamp keeps acting up.
I'm just trying to protect him. He'll understand someday.
Maybe he needs to understand today.
Visually, Lady and Tramp 2 isn't half bad looking. It doesn't have the same magnificent animation quality as the original, but at least it doesn't look like a television cartoon like most Disney sequels. However, the energy and pacing have been amped up, so expect the animation to be sillier and cartoonier. There's not really any intellectual creativity in the animation because the movie wants to be as fast-paced and upbeat as possible. Yes, this wacky style might keep kids' attention, but anyone can make a child focus on constant movement. It's not exactly a challenging effort that deserves praise. Sure, there are quiet scenes now and again, each one handled with a calm tone, but overall, the animation is mainly very active and energetic, not in a comedically imaginative way, but most likely because they're afraid of boring kids. I have nothing against physical comedy in children's films. Kids love slapstick, but they deserve good slapstick, not mindless antics. Now, I mentioned that the film's original songs don't exactly fit the movie, which I stand by, but they're not exactly bad musical numbers, just not very interesting or catchy. I've actually forgotten them all already, and I've only just watched the film this morning. That's really saying something. The songs are cute, harmless, and have nice meanings to them. They'll make some audiences smile and go, ah, plus they do their parts in the story just fine, but I personally wasn't that bothered by them. I could take or leave them. None of them brought any kind of strong emotions out of me. To conclude, I think that Lady and the Tramp 2 is a downgrade from what we got from the original. It replaces sophistication, class, and subtlety with over-the-top slapstick and safe Disney sequel cliches. I'd say it's okay at best, a cute puppy love romance with decent moral values and nice art designs. It's one of the more watchable Disney sequels, but it still retains most common criticisms made against Disney straight-to-video movies. I understand that this film has its fans, and if you love this movie, then that's totally fine with me. I'm not judging you, but I personally feel lukewarm about it and don't like how it abandons the good things that made the first film work, as if it's ashamed of what it's based on and doesn't trust that kids today will appreciate a slow pace or clever sentiments about the dog's eye view. I've been Jambareeqi and I hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, then feel free to like, subscribe and share. Also, don't forget to click that notification bell. So, what am I going to be reviewing in the next episode of Jambareeqi Orange? Well, that's entirely up to my patrons. The options for next month's episode include Annabelle, X-Men, 101 Dalmatians 2, Toy Story That Time Forgot, Batman vs Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Bumblebee. That's a pretty awesome selection, am I right, folks? Now, don't forget that you have to be a patron in order to access this poll. What is a patron? Don't worry, I'll explain. This is my Patreon. It's a site for my fans to make monthly donations to me. Those who donate are called patrons. The money I receive goes towards funding my videos and serves as a supportive income for me. Patrons can donate as much as they want each month and stop donating any time. All donations are greatly appreciated, and in return for their patronage, patrons are given exciting rewards, depending on how much they donate, including their names credited in my main show, access to exclusive videos, and the chance to decide a review on my channel. I'm very excited to find out what my patrons want me to review next. Cheerio, folks.